Well, this album is called Love Medicine. The songs are a collection of songs that we've written over the past, I would say, 4 or 5 years. We've been writing a lot, inspired by different situations, and especially inspired by interesting people that we've had the chance to meet. Here we have some songs inspired by Brazilian musicians, especially João Bosco and Milton Nascimento, 2 great artists with which we've been in touch over these years. These are 2 songs that I actually wrote for them, for the both of them. Then we have a song which is actually our first artistic collaboration with Pat Metheny in 20 years. Pat Metheny was the producer of our first international album, has remained our close friend over all of these years, and also our great inspiration. And we always meet with him when we go to New York. We always spend some hours talking about music and politics in his house.
By the way, I remember seeing him and Charlie Hayden under the Missouri sky. And
yeah, Charlie Hayden just passed away, that's right. Yeah, may he rest in peace. He was a great musician. In our last visit to Pat's house, he actually, he had just written a beautiful melody, and when I walked in he said, I know why I wrote this song this morning, it's for you. And he gave it to me, and it's beautiful, this beautiful melody. And he said, you know, do what you want with it. It's a gift from me to you. And then I wrote lyrics about him, actually, and called the song Eternity and Beauty, which is dedicated to Pat and how much we love him. There's also an incredible encounter here between me and Gil and the amazing Joaquim Sabina. I met Joaquim Sabina in Israel when he was performing together with Joan Manuel Serrat, and I was a guest in their show. We had a very good chemistry between us, and I then visited him in Madrid together with Gil in his amazing home where he has thousands of books. He's a real book lover. And after this meeting I wrote a song inspired by him, and I gave it to him, and he loved it, and he translated it, and we sang it together. It's on the album. I'm very proud of this song. It's called You Too. You Too. It's funny, but I wrote the English lyrics, and he translated them, and I think that's the reason that he was so excited about the song, because he found himself in it. He's amazing. I'm so honored, really, to have the chance to collaborate with him. There are also some covers here. There's a cover of a Bobby McFerrin song, which also came as a result of a concert that we did together with the amazing McFerrin in Tel Aviv. And not a very well-known song of his. And he was very eager for me to cover it because he thought that would enable people to become aware of it. And I'm happy to have been able to do that. We have a cover of Eternal Flame, which is also by the Bangles, was co-written by a really good friend of ours called Billy Steinberg, with which we've been working for 20 years. So a lot of personal connections and inspiring connections. The reason I chose the title Love Medicine is because over the years I've seen that this is the one great contribution that I can make to the world of music. You know, music has different effects for different people. Sometimes it needs to shake you out of your slumber. Sometimes it needs to kick you in the head or punch you in the stomach. Sometimes just to make you dance or make you forget. And sometimes music has real healing power. It can really help people get through difficult times in their lives and inspire them in deep ways. And I think that is what when I am able to do that, this is what I can do best. Yeah. So I decided to put a name on it and call it Love Medicine, which is what music, I believe, can do. This led to the whole, the concept. Once we had the title, this led to the way we selected the songs, to the way we produced them, and also even to the selection for the photo of the cover, which for me was a really great experience because it was filmed underwater with a friend of mine. All this album is made with friends.
The documentary is already
nice.
on YouTube.
Yeah, making of the film. Yeah, this was made by, again, all friends who are all scuba divers. One of them has been my friend from 25 years. And for me it was an amazing experience because I'm not a scuba diver and I don't know how to breathe with equipment. So I did it all with natural breath. Because I'm a singer, I can breathe quite a lot. I can hold my breath for a long time. But the idea of this title was really that being inside water makes you vulnerable in many ways. It makes you are embraced by something which you cannot control. When you're inside water, you cannot control the way the photo will come out. There's a lot of random going on, and I love that idea, and also the idea of being inside a womb, like a baby inside a mother's womb, where you are being embraced and held warmly, was very in keeping with the spirit of the album. Yes, but for me, water, it's a really personal thing, you know. It's just like listening or perceiving any work of art. Any person can find anything that they want or need to find inside it. For me, water is a very, very a comforting thing. I love water. I spend a lot of time in water because I swim. Swimming is my sport of choice. And I find it to be very meditative, very quiet. A place of contemplation and thought, a place where you connect to very basic things. That's what water is for me. I love the world under the water. Actually, I think, I know that when I was young, growing up, one of my ideas for path in life, not music, was to study marine biology. I really wanted to study marine. Musicians have to find new ways. The audience has to find new ways. And yeah, it's got to be a sort of symbiosis between the audience and the musicians. It's a very confusing time for everybody, I think, for the musicians and for the audience as well. We have many ways of producing music and of distributing it, but then on the other hand, there is an incredible surplus of music. There's just so much music being made. It's very difficult to find your way or to stand out in the tidal wave of new art and artists and music. Crowdfunding is an interesting method. Of course, it depends on your crowd. So you have to, you yourself, find your people, reach out to them. It's very hard work for an artist to try to, because nobody helps. There's no one out there to help you with anything, actually. And that's really challenging. We're lucky because at least we had a chance to establish our name in some way when there was still an industry to work with. Young artists today are really like, out in the desert. This leads me to tell you about a project that Gil and I are involved in at this time, and that is an Israeli startup company called Fair Play Music, of which we are the founders. The idea of this company is to help musicians reach the people who can appreciate their music. Because as we see it, it's, okay, anyone can put their songs on YouTube or but how do you help your song find the ears that can really appreciate it? There are many ways on the internet, but we don't find them very effective, actually. And so we're working with an algorithm which was developed by some very smart people who are also students of Gil's, and another professor, which is actually deciphering taste in music. And so there's a player streamed by YouTube, a YouTube player, where you rate songs, and it's a learning system. So by 2 or 3 songs, it will understand your taste in a very effective way and start streaming music to you. Now the idea here is to really work with and for musicians. So the songs will not be the Rolling Stones and the Beatles again, because that's not a, okay, we all know what we like. The question is how we can find unbranded music. So we're working first with music schools. We've started a demo with our own music school, Rimon, where I was a student and Gil was a teacher. We now have a collaboration with the Berklee School of Music, which is a huge school in Boston. We're going to start our next alpha with them. And that we really create a community of musicians where musicians can find each other, where music professionals can find musicians, which is what musicians need. They need opportunities. And at a third stage, the audience can find the music that they can appreciate. And we really believe in that. And that's just one way that we can suggest to help musicians in this jungle that we are all in. Yes, of course. Everything is more difficult, let's put it that way. Everything is more difficult. It's more difficult just because there are just so many concerts. And the reason that there are so many is because everyone has to go on tour all the time, because there's no other alternative. In the past, artists could sell music. Now artists can't. And this is a bit of a tragedy if you ask me, because the kind of, for example, Pat Metheny, you know, he would make these amazing productions, studio productions, which were very, very costly and had a lot of musicians and took a lot of studio time. But you can't shortcut, you can't make things cheap. It's just not going to be the same music. Or symphonic music. You can't record symphonic music cheaply on your iPad. You can't. No. I mean, you need to get all those people into the room, and all those people have spent 20 or 30 years being great musicians. I mean, it's just not instant coffee. So someone has to pay for all that. And the fact that the audience thinks that they can get everything for free, okay, that's great, until one day they will realize there's no more to get free. They just won't have the music anymore, because the musicians will all be out of business, because we'll all be looking for other jobs, because nobody will be able to sit in their room from morning to night and be a great violinist anymore, because they have no future. And I think that's real tragedy. Someone has to wake up the audience and say, guys, you know, with all due respect, you can't steal music. You can steal it, but then don't be surprised when the music becomes crap, because the people who are making it become business dealers and not devoted musicians. Yeah. So I think we have a loop here that somebody needs to break. But that's why the relationship between the audience and the musicians are so important, because when you had a mediator, which was the industry was very greedy. The industry knew how to manipulate things and make a lot of money for themselves. I'm sorry, but that's not fair. You know, you can't take the people's money, put it in your pocket, not give it to the musician, and then expect everyone to play with that game forever. Now the music industry is in a collapse. The people have no trust anymore. But a new system needs to be built where there's trust between the people and the musicians, so the people will pay for the music directly to the musicians and enable good music to exist. Otherwise, it just won't. I told them, remember what we need. We need a little bit of money just to go, and we need a lot of love. That's what we need. A little bit of money and a lot of love. It's not the other way around. You know, you don't need a lot of money and a little love. You'll be miserable people like that. And anyway, it's not an option. If you, as a musician, if you're looking to make a lot of money, the compromise you will have to make is the forfeiting of your musical way. You just can't. You have to manipulate yourself. You have to think what the audience wants. No, an artist doesn't have to think what the audience wants. An artist has to create beautiful music, and the audience will come, or they won't. But that cannot be the thought of the artist. Artist has to be a leader, not a follower. So money cannot be your incentive in that case. My half brain, yeah.
Half brain.
You know, Gil and I have a very, we have a very unique relationship that has survived a lot of ups and downs, but mostly ups, because we respect each other a lot, and we come from different perspectives within the sphere, the intellectual and musical sphere, but we always have something to contribute to each other. So our conversation is always interesting. Actually, we've had a 24-year conversation, because that's what mostly we do. Our work is always a lot of talking, and then we make music. We talk a lot. We discuss what we want to do. We discuss life. Every day we start in the studio. First we sit, we have coffee, and we talk about the political situation, about the world, about what's going on. You know, we dissect things like scientists, you know, in the laboratory. And we don't always agree about everything, but we agree about a lot. You know, we agree about most things. That's the key to a successful relationship, you know. And I think also, you know, there are people who have a certain mechanism which makes it easier for them to collaborate. Some people are just not good collaborators. They're total individualists. Me, I work better as a team than I don't want to be alone in anything. I like to be together with my friends, with my family, with my team. I'm a team person. Yeah. And in order to do that, you have to agree with yourself that we is better than me, you know?
You have a song.
I have a song like that, of course. We is stronger and more effective and more powerful than just me by myself. And you give up something of yourself in order to gain a greater thing. If you're able to do that, I think the rewards are many. That's what we do when we have children. We give up a lot of ourselves in order to raise children. You just have to, you give up sleep, you give up your hobbies, you give up your body, you give up so much to have children. And same thing with a marriage, same thing with any partnership. And I believe in that, so that's the way it works. As strong as my musical, no. No. Because that's absolutely number one, my raison d'être, as you would say. When I was younger, there were other things I had in mind. You know, I wanted to study marine biology because I was very interested in the sea. You know, my younger daughter is called the sea, Yam, Mar, which is in Hebrew Yam. And I love the sea. But my calling for music was so huge. It was much bigger. It was stronger than me. You understand? I always said I was chosen by music. I didn't choose music. I was chosen by music. And recently I've thought maybe I will go back to university. Go to university, because I never went to university. I don't have any degree in anything. I only studied 1 year.
Who needs it?
What?
Who needs it?
Yeah, that's the thing. Who needs it? But the reason I want to go to university is not in order to get a degree, but in order to learn. So I think I would like to study political science, actually, because I want to understand how the political system works, and history, to see what happened, what went wrong. I want to understand what went wrong with humanity. How did it happen? And who knows, maybe I will get more involved in politics, because I think that in my country we have a real problem. We have no leaders. Yeah, we have no leaders in Israel. Really, we have no leaders. We have followers, but we don't have leaders. And maybe I need to take my part and pay the price, because I think that entering into politics is paying a very, very high price, personal price. I'm not sure if I can do it, because I'm a very emotional person, and I'm a very sensitive person, which is not good for politics. I'm also a very honest person. But many people have encouraged me recently to do that. So even Shimon Peres invited me to the president's house and told me,
Noah, what do you think? How many years you're going to sing? Maybe you should get into politics.
I told him, I don't know, I'm not. I don't know how to play that game. So he said,
no, we need good people in politics.
Anyway, he's getting pretty old, and he's going to be gone soon. He's one of the good guys. And
you were at the celebration of his 90th?
No, I was unfortunately not there. No, I was abroad on tour as usual.
Okay.
As usual, I was invited, yeah, but no. I love making music, and it's my life. I couldn't live without it. Yeah. I do make a lot of compromises with my family, which means I make compromises against the music and against the family in order to find a middle path.